Hello and welcome to TV3's Nightline. I'm Nakia Basharuddin. News making the headlines. All schools in Pasir Gudang district ordered to close for 3 days. And Prime Minister dismisses claim that government is out to bankrupt UMNO. Welcome. The Education Ministry has decided to immediately close all educational institutions in Pasir Gudang, Johor for 3 days beginning Tuesday. In a statement to the media on Monday night, State Education Department Director Azman Adnan said the decision was made to allow authorities to work on clearing the pollution. There are 475 education institutions in Pasir Gudang registered with the State Education Department, comprising of 111 primary and secondary schools, 3 higher education institutions, 14 private and international schools, and 347 private kindergartens. Azman said the department will continue to monitor and help schools to ensure the students' well-being. Meanwhile, the toxic air situation in Pasir Gudang worsened on Monday as it has affected more than 300 students in 15 schools. All victims were rushed to the temporary clinic set up at the Pasir Gudang Municipal Council, while 75 of the affected students were referred to the Sultan Ismail Hospital, HSI, for further treatment. Among the schools affected are Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan SMK and Sekolah Kebangsaan SK Tanjung Puteri Resort, SK Pasir Puteh 1, SK Pasir Gudang 2, as well as SK Taman Pasir Puteh 1, SMK Taman Megah Ria, SK Taman Rinting 2, and SMK Bandar Seri Alam. Students of the schools were reported to have experienced nausea, dizziness and vomiting at about 10 a.m. 75 students who were referred to HSI were reported to have breathing difficulties and they were vomiting. The schools which were affected on Monday were not on the list of 16 schools ordered to be closed till this Thursday. The Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change, MACC, has denied claims that the chemical air pollution affecting the district is tied to the previous Sungai Kim Kim pollution. Its Deputy Minister, Isna Raisa Munirah Majlis, said the case was different from the Sungai Kim Kim incident as the 2 chemical compounds identified in the previous case, namely acrylonitrile and acrylin, were not detected this time.
Mungkin saya boleh tambah sedikit ya. Kes pencemaran yang kali ini dia memang berbeza, sangat-sangat berbeza daripada Sungai Kim Kim. Dan saya ingin maklumkan juga yang bahawa semua sisa-sisa daripada kes Sungai Kim Kim hari itu telah pun diproses ya dan melalui incinerator.
Isna Raisa told this to the media in a press conference at the Pasir Gudang Indoor Stadium on Monday. She said following checks, the Department of Environment was currently investigating 30 chemical factories which processed the same chemical compound as the gas detected, which led to the problems faced in Pasir Gudang since last Thursday. Meanwhile, Johor Menteri Besar Datuk Dr. Sahruddin Jamal, who was also present at the press conference, said the state government would be issuing notices to the 30 factories which may have played a role in the issue. It is not the government's intention to bankrupt UMNO. The Prime Minister, who said this, stressed that if the party did something wrong, then action must be taken. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad pointed out that stolen money must be paid back, not to UMNO, but to the government, because the money belongs to the government. The Prime Minister was asked to comment on criticism that the government is out to bankrupt UMNO following the civil forfeiture suit initiated by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, against the party.
No question. If we want to bankrupt, we could have done that earlier, much earlier. We have allowed Najib quite free although he's been charged, he's going around menjadi bosku.
The Prime Minister spoke to the media after officiating the Asia Oil and Gas AOGC 2019 conference in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. He said the last time was when UMNO took money that was stolen and given to the divisions, and they spent it. The MACC recently named 41 individuals, political parties, trust funds and business entities as having received monies from former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Mohamad Najib Tun Razak. MACC announced that it aimed to recover 270 million ringgit misappropriated from One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB. Commenting on the sex video controversy allegedly implicating Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the Economic Affairs Minister is not so stupid to be embroiled in a sex scandal, and that certain quarters are making deliberate attempts to affect the minister's future. The Prime Minister said this when asked to comment on veteran newsman Dato' A. Kadir Jassin's blog post that highlighted several cases in other countries where leaders stepped down when implicated in scandals. Tun Dr. Mahathir had said that the sex video is a political plot and that Dato' Sri Azmin need not go on leave pending investigations.
Yeah, here is a definite, deliberate attempt to affect the future of Azmin Ali. I don't think he is so stupid as to do that and get caught in a picture like that. I think somebody is out to bring him down. And nowadays, with all kinds of miracles in the electronics, you can show a lot of pictures which may or may not be true. That is why we have done away with the fake news. But sometimes we feel that somebody must take action against fake news.
So
there is no necessity simply because in other countries people do something. I know in one country, if a plane crashes in the airfield, the Minister of Transport resigns or throws himself out of a building. But it's not our way.
Earlier in his keynote address at the Asia Oil and Gas Conference, AOGC, Tun Dr. Mahathir said Malaysia must recognise the potential of its neighbours to forge strategic alliances on the back of a prosper thy neighbour policy that promotes the concept of shared prosperity. He said today's world is confronted with increased concerns over the sustainability of global economic growth in the face of rising financial, political, social and environmental challenges.
We must therefore recognize the potential of our neighbors to forge strategic alliances on the back of a prosper thy neighbor policy that promotes the concept of shared prosperity. Only then can we forge a new energy future that is sustainable and secure for generations to come.
Tun Dr. Mahathir said Asia, however, continues to position itself as a dynamic and vibrant market despite facing common challenges in the rising demand for energy, expanding energy access and meeting climate commitments. More than 4,000 delegates from 34 countries are participating in the AOGC. PKR President Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said he is satisfied with the agreement on the transition of power with Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, despite the Prime Minister now saying that he will remain in office for 3 years. Datuk Sri Anwar reiterated that he does not doubt his succession plans, as he said there is a solid understanding and agreement between him and Tun Dr. Mahathir.
I'm meeting the Prime Minister shortly. I will, of course, see a clarification from him. No, but on a serious note, there is absolutely no problem insofar as the transition is concerned. Prime Minister Mahathir and myself continue to meet on a weekly basis, and a transition is not an issue, period.
Datuk Sri Anwar said this to the media at a press conference at the Finance Ministry on Monday. Tun Dr. Mahathir during an interview with CNBC in Bangkok, Thailand on Saturday, where he was attending the ASEAN summit, had said he will step down as Prime Minister within 3 years, handing over the reins to Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Tun Dr. Mahathir said that the government needs 3 years to reduce Malaysia's debt from 80% of gross domestic product to 54%. When asked whether he would stay in office to see out that goal, Tun Dr. Mahathir said he will not go beyond 3 years. Meanwhile, when met at an open house organised by Kumpulan Maju in Sri Kembangan, Selangor on Monday night, Tun Dr. Mahathir has denied saying that he will step down as Prime Minister within 3 years.
Kenapa 3 tahun tu? Sebab sebelum ni kata kenapa 3 tahun? Sebab sebelum ni kata 2 tahun.
Saya tak kata 3 tahun.
Okay, thank you.
Tun Dr. Mahathir said he just wanted to correct the work that was being done. The Prime Minister was also asked on his meeting with Datuk Sri Anwar on Monday evening, to which he said it was a normal meeting and nothing unusual. The Women, Family and Community Development Ministry on Monday launched a new ad campaign on YouTube with the aim of raising awareness on sexual harassment among preschoolers and children. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said that children need to be educated on the dangers of sexual harassment early on. According to Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, who is also Women, Family and Community Development Minister, the campaign is the government's latest effort to help reduce the number of children falling prey to paedophiles, which is a source for worry. 5 videos lasting 1 minute each are shown in the form of advertisements, which are screened before children get to watch their favorite videos, such as children's songs, cartoons, recognizing letters and colors, and so on.
Kes-kes banyaknya apa yang berlaku adalah kanak-kanak ni dengan seseorang yang mereka ketahui, known persons. Dan bila mereka tahu bahawa ini boleh, ini tak boleh, inilah apa yang kita nak ajar pada mereka. Kemungkinan sikit demi sikit, sehari demi hari, dia menjadi tak elok. So the child must know where the barrier is. Mana is that is no, dan kita mestilah sampaikan kepada mereka. Kerana kita kadang-kadang tidak dapat mengawasi anak kita sepanjang masa. Dan inilah untuk mereka sendiri, untuk mengenali dan tahu pada untuk diri sendiri mereka bila mestilah mereka buat apa mereka perlu buat kalau ini berlaku pada mereka.
Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah says the ministry is targeting about 150,000 children in the country to view the Safe Touch and Bad Touch sex education video, which starts airing on Monday on YouTube. The video is jointly created by the ministry and non-governmental organisation Malaysians Against Pornography and Google. Malaysia needs to increase its productivity if it is to achieve its goal to become a high-income nation in the next decade. International Monetary Fund IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde said despite the economic success over the past 20 years, Malaysia's productivity did not grow as much as the country had hoped. The IMF chief said this at a special engagement in University Malaya on Monday. Also present was Bank Negara Governor Datuk Nur Syamsiah Muhammad Yunus. Lagarde outlined 3 key ingredients that Malaysia should pay attention to in order to improve productivity, namely improving governance and tackling corruption, investing in high-quality education, and boosting labour force participation of women.
The Malaysia economy will be as successful and as tasty and rich as laksa, which was the theme of my remarks this morning, with additional ingredients including governance and fight against corruption, higher and better education for all the Malaysian young and not so young people as well, and the improvement of the role of women, which I'm pleased to see is also one of the goals that Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir is pursuing going forward.
Lagarde also pointed out that the new government had paved the right path to empower women by appointing 5 female ministers, 4 female deputy ministers, and the first female deputy prime minister in the country's history. Permodalan Nasional Berhad's PNB's assets under management AUM has breached the 300 ringgit billion mark for the first time, recording 301.4 billion ringgit in the first half of 2019. According to its group chairman Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz, this is an increase of 7% from 281.8 billion ringgit recorded last year amidst a highly challenging investment environment. Tan Sri Zeti also said the number of account holders also grew by 5.2% to 14.1 million accounts due to continued trust of the Malaysian public.
To mitigate this challenging environment, PNB has remained focused on delivering our 5 key priority initiatives for the year. Apart from accelerating our investment portfolio diversification and improving the performance of our strategic and core companies, PNB also is in the midst of implementing a structured outsourcing program to appoint leading global asset managers to allow us to explore new broad investment strategies.
She said this at a press conference on PNB's first half financial performance in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. The fund also announced income distribution for Amanah Saham Bumiputra 3 Didik ASB 3 Didik, as well as ASN Equity 2, formerly known as Amanah Saham Nasional 2. The income distribution for ASB 3 Didik unit holders is 5.25 sen per unit, comprising income distribution of 4.85 sen per unit and bonus of 0.40 sen per unit. This comprises a total payout of 323 million ringgit in income distribution to 292,400 unit holders who currently hold 6.19 billion units. Meanwhile, ASN Equity 2 unit holders will receive 2.80 sen per unit June 2019, with a total income distribution payout for ASN Equity 2 amounting to 43 million ringgit, benefiting 32,400 unit holders.
PNB has grown so significantly.
Coming up after the breather, Datuk Sri Zahid summoned to the MACC again. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi presented himself at the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission's MACC headquarters in Putrajaya on Monday to have his statement recorded. It is learnt that the former Deputy Prime Minister was being summoned in connection with a case involving a private company dealing in bringing in Chinese tourists to Malaysia. Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid arrived at the MACC headquarters at 9:30 a.m. and managed to avoid the media as he arrived an hour before his scheduled meeting. He left 3 hours later. Reporters who gathered at the MACC building were left in limbo as they were only informed at 5 p.m. that Datuk Sri Zahid left the commission after being quizzed. It is learnt that Datuk Sri Zahid is being investigated under Section 16A MACC Act 2009. In Selangor, police have foiled a drug syndicate in Subang Jaya from distributing a huge supply of drugs, enough to cater to a whopping 2.7 million users. This was following a raid on Friday where a total of 556.2 kilograms of shabu worth 27.8 million ringgit was seized, the police's biggest haul in the state so far this year. According to State Police Chief Datuk Nur Azam Jamaluddin, 2 suspects aged 18 and 28 were also arrested in the operation at a rented terrace house in Subang Mewah, which was used as a store and distribution point.
Adalah dipercayai sindiket ini sudah beroperasi lebih kurang 2 hingga 3 bulan yang lalu dan rumah ini telah dijadikan sebagai stor simpanan dadah lebih kurang dalam 18 hari.
A total of 540 packets of shabu sealed in Chinese tea packaging were found in the living room and in a multi-purpose vehicle parked at the porch. Initial investigation revealed the drugs were meant to be sold in the local market and overseas in countries such as Taiwan, Korea, and Indonesia. Both suspects have been remanded until Friday to facilitate investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In Johor, a police inspector was charged at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court on Monday on 2 counts of demanding and receiving bribes amounting to 5,500 ringgit from an illegal moneylender in Batu Pahat 2 years ago. The accused, Lim Yenji, 33, pleaded not guilty after the charges were read out to him before Judge Faiz Ziauddin. The court allowed him 20,000 ringgit bail and fixed July 27 for mention of the case. Meanwhile, in Negeri Sembilan, a police corporal was remanded for 5 days beginning on Monday to assist investigations into a corruption case involving 4,000 ringgit. Special Remand Court Assistant Registrar Nur Hayati Mohamad Saini issued the remand order to allow the MACC to probe the case under Section 17 of the MACC Act 2009. The suspect was believed to have demanded a bribe from a man in return for not taking action against 5 of his employees for possessing a bottle of ketum juice and 1 foreign worker for not having valid travel documents. In Kedah, 2 Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency members were remanded in Alor for 7 days beginning on Monday to assist in the investigation by the MACC on allegations that they received monthly bribes from fishermen in Kuala Kedah for the past 3 years. The remand order on the 2 suspects, both aged 44 years and ranked Bintara Muda Maritime, was issued by the Alor Court Principal Assistant Registrar Nur Liana Rahim. The case is being investigated under Section 17, Subsection A of the MACC Act 2009. Still to come on Nightline, scores killed in tent collapse. We'll be right back. On to the foreign front. In India, at least 15 people were killed and more than 50 others were injured when heavy rain and strong winds caused a huge tent to collapse in Rajasthan. According to local media, the incident occurred when around 300 people had gathered inside the tent for a religious event. It is reported that some died after being electrocuted by live electricity wires as the tent caved in, while others were hit by falling debris. Those injured have been taken to nearby hospitals, and an investigation into the incident has been launched. Stampedes are common at India's religious gatherings, with police and volunteer stewards often overwhelmed by large crowds. Turkey's ruling AK party has lost control of Istanbul following a rerun of the city's mayoral election, delivering a stinging blow to President Erdogan. With more than 99% of the votes counted, Republican People's Party candidate Ekrem İmamoğlu was in the lead with about 54% of the vote. In his victory speech, İmamoğlu said the result marked a new beginning for both the city and the country, claiming that his supporters had fixed democracy. The election was Istanbul's second in 3 months after results of an initial March vote were scrapped, setting up the do-over as a test of Turks' ability to check what many saw as their president's increasingly authoritarian power. At a farm outside St. Petersburg, a group of people with mental disabilities are working in a bakery, a barn, and a dairy in a rare case of integration in Russia, where mental health issues face a strong stigma. Take a look as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Nakia Bashiruddin. Thank you for watching.